Welcome back. March is National Colorectal Cancer Awareness Month. It is now the leading cause of cancer death in men and women under 50. Joining me today is Dr. Matt Yurgelun of the Dana-Farber Cancer Institute. Good morning. Thank you so much for being here and talking about this really important issue.
Yeah, thanks for having me, and thanks for helping to raise awareness.
What have you been seeing in your time at Dana-Farber?
So it's really been striking. Over the recent years, we've seen among people diagnosed with colorectal cancer a real shift where we're seeing younger and younger people, not just people in their 40s, but sometimes in their 30s and 20s. And these are people often who have no real risk factors for colorectal cancer.
Why are we seeing this rise in young adults and even younger?
That's the question we're trying to answer, honestly. We know that there's a few factors that seem to raise the risk for younger onset colorectal cancer: obesity, family history, some genetic factors. But largely, these are people who don't have obvious risk factors, and so I think we've got a lot of work to do to try to figure this out more.
The screening age has been lowered to 45, which is helpful. Who should get screened even earlier than that?
Right. So, I mean, certainly anybody at and over the age of 45 absolutely should be getting screening. Younger than 45, we often recommend screening if there's a family history of colorectal cancer, for people who have specific genetic risk factors, people who have certain inflammatory conditions like Crohn's disease, ulcerative colitis. Some people who have survived a prior childhood cancer need to get screened earlier. And then anybody who has concerning symptoms should be undergoing investigation for sure.
That was my next question. What are the symptoms people should be paying attention to?
Yeah, so I mean, we often think about if there's blood when moving the bowels, if there's a change to the bowel habits, certainly pain in the belly, losing weight that people aren't trying to lose. You know, too often those are symptoms that are kind of chalked up to things like hemorrhoids, IBS, stress, but really there's no such thing nowadays as being too young to have colorectal cancer, and so people who have those symptoms should be getting checked out.
Is there anything that people can do to reduce their risk of getting colorectal cancer?
We know that things like exercise make a difference. We know that maintaining a healthy body weight makes a difference. But at the end of the day, I don't think we understand all of these risk factors quite yet. And so I think that's where we just need to be vigilant about symptoms and knowing who has these risk factors like family history. It's important to talk about family history.
Okay, yeah, that's a very good point. And then today is also Lynch Syndrome Awareness Day.
Correct.
What is Lynch syndrome? I know that you work very closely with that.
Correct. So Lynch syndrome is a rather common form of hereditary cancer risk. We think more than 1 in 300 people in the U.S. has Lynch syndrome, so there's more than a million people in the U.S. with Lynch syndrome. It's a form of inherited cancer risk that raises the risk for colorectal cancer, uterine cancer, ovarian cancer, stomach cancer, pancreatic cancer, and there's kind of a list of other cancers. But it's often underdiagnosed. People don't talk about their family history enough. It can look very different family to family. And these are cancers that often hit people at younger ages, oftentimes multiple times throughout somebody's lifetime. But there's great prevention that we have for these people once we know that they have Lynch syndrome.
All right, Dr. Matt Yurgelun of Dana-Farber, thank you so much for joining us.